Growing up, I went to school with a lot of Hispanic students, Chinese, Vietnamese, but hardly any white students. We were aware that we were different races, but it was never a problem. So it was a good atmosphere to learn English because everyone was learning English. So we all kind of learned as a community. Education-wise, it might not have been the best school or the best books or the best teachers, but I believe it was a really good atmosphere. I was one of the only kids who knew fluent Vietnamese and fluent English. Most kids either learned English and forgot Vietnamese or didn't know English well enough. So at school, they would call me out of class to go translate. So I thought it was tons of fun because I'd be getting called out of class 3-4 times a week to translate. And it was a chance for me to learn different terms in both English and Vietnamese that I didn't know before. We didn't really have toys and stuff, so all the kids would play on the jungle gyms for hours after school. You would see kids playing in the streets all the time, playing with sticks, just whatever we could find. I didn't feel like I was poor. We were a really big community, so everyone was friends. Most of our parents were either working multiple jobs or working throughout the night. Even though my parents didn't get a high school degree or any education in Vietnam, my mom was really good with numbers, so she would sit me down whenever she had free time to come home and go through my math homework with me, which was great. My parents did own a store that they ran full-time. They would sleep there even, they had beds there. So basically my brothers raised me.
We helped out some. She was a hardworking girl and she did a lot of the stuff herself. You know, she also helped out a lot with her younger brother about getting him to go to college.
That was our everyday life. They would just educate me in everything. It was definitely a change going from the rowdy, crazy streets of Los Angeles to quiet suburbia in Johnson County. There weren't many minorities in Johnson County, so I definitely felt that difference. Everyone looked at me weird, or I would hear them say things at school because I was one of the few Asian students there. I always thought my culture was something good about me. So when I finally came here, I felt like people couldn't see past me being Asian or my culture to see who I was. It's something my mom always tells me about education is this is an opportunity that they never had, and she just wants me to get as much out of it as possible.
Mẹ rất là muốn là khi qua đây bé Hoa bắt đầu đi học, mẹ vui mừng lắm á. Năm đầu tiên bé đi học rồi mẹ mừng tới mẹ khóc luôn á. Nó giống như hồi anh hai với anh ba cũng học vậy, nhưng mà tại vì hoàn cảnh gia đình bố với mẹ thành nên anh không có đi học được, mẹ cũng buồn. Rồi qua đây bé đi học được, mẹ mừng.
I really didn't expect to go to college. I just expected to start working at the nail salon part-time, eventually get my nail license, start working with my family and all that. But they were like, no, we want you to have a better life. We don't want you touching people's feet for a living. We want you to get an education and get further than we have so that your children get further than you have. I do feel like I'm a bridge because my younger brother, he never thought he was gonna go to college. He always thought he was just gonna pick up some minimum wage job and just work up to be a manager or something. And I was determined to make him go to college. He finally has realized that education is fun, so I'm finally glad to see him enjoy education because education is something you should enjoy. And then my mom, just a few years ago, when I told her I was gonna be an English teacher in ESL, she thought that was amazing. She really was inspired, I guess. And so she started taking night classes to learn English, and she can actually hold a conversation, which is nice now. The worst hurdle for me, which is probably not as bad a hurdle as any of the others, I could not take being away from my family. I was so homesick. It was like so empty without having my family there because we've all lived together, all my brothers and I and my mom, since I was 11. I drove home every weekend almost. I was used to being babied by my brothers. I mean, I did my paperwork by myself and all that, but I didn't have them there to support me, which was really scary. I would just stay up at night and think, did I make the right choice? Should I call them and ask them if I should take this class or not? And they just thought it was ridiculous that I couldn't make these choices by myself yet. It wasn't until the advisors at the college education helped me, and I finally thought, so I really can do anything I want. And that's when I started taking more liberties and freedom with my classes and my education. As a kid, I had so many people who were in ESL tell me I wouldn't succeed, I wouldn't learn English. I was already reading Harry Potter in 2nd grade, and I loved it. But everyone thought since I was an ESL student and I was in these lower classes that I couldn't get into the advanced English classes. My family had to step in and say, no, she should be taken out of ESL finally. And that's when they tested me, to have them realize that I had potential. So I thought that as an ESL major, I could make this change in students. And if they weren't determined to learn, I would make them determined to learn, because it's not an opportunity they should miss.